Today it's how just to stay healthy and fit. With me in studio, we have Kate Kibara, who's a clinical nutritionist and a colon hydrotherapist, and Dr. Dindi, who's a consultant physician and author as well. Now, before we took the break, we wanted to find out, and maybe I'll start with you, Dr. Dindi, on what is obesity. Is obesity something that I can see based on how I look? We tend to think that the minute you see somebody maybe with a public opinion, hanging, or you're slightly overweight, you're struggling with your walk, that's obesity. Is that how you define obesity?
It's interesting because I've actually had people who are obese by assessments who think they are not and see other people as obese because they think someone who is extra huge. But obesity, by definition, there's a universal way of assessing it, and this is by using the body mass index. That is how your weight is distributed over height. And therefore, someone whose body mass index is at 25 to 9.9 is classified as overweight, and from 30 to 35 is class 1 obesity. So anyway, anything at 30 kilograms per meter squared and above is actually obese. And the biggest problem with obesity is that it increases our risk for lifestyle diseases. So we're talking about diabetes, heart attack, hypertension, some actually forms of cancer, among other things, including osteoarthritis. But that does not mean that someone who is not obese doesn't have these risks. So obesity just increases the risk of that. And like you said earlier, that there are people who are perceived to be thin or petite who are getting heart attacks and other complications that we would assume would only occur in people with obesity. This is because there are many other things that happen within the body, and partly because people who are thin feel that they can get away with anything, and some of them are consuming a lot of junk and foods, not only rich in sugars and carbohydrates, but as well as high in what we call trans fats. These are the food shortenings, the margarines, and all that. And these ones increase the inflammation within our blood vessels, that is the arteries, and can cause clogging, giving us whatever, heart attacks and strokes and such kind of stuff. But back to the same body mass index, it's been faulted in some ways because it doesn't give us the full picture. Like some people who are athletes can have a lot of muscle mass and have high BMIs, but still be healthy in terms of their lean mass, or don't have a lot of fat. And in some cultures, like the Japanese, the Asians, they've actually been noticed to have high risks compared to the other, races, even at low BMIs. In fact, there's a time there was a proposal that their body mass index should be cut off at 23 kilograms per meter squared, as opposed to 25, because their risks are much higher. That just means that they have a tendency of packing on a lot of fat, of what we can see subcutaneously and within the visceral organs, which is very risky, when still looking small. So one can look small but have a lot of fat going on the inside. And
somebody gave me a very simple formula for BMI, and I want to maybe for you to verify if this is true. Yes, there are many apps, and I think there's where you go, you get your height measured, your weight, and they do the calculations. But somebody gave me a very simple formula where you measure your height in centimeters, and if it's 174, just knock off the first number, and you're left with 74, and that should be your average weight. Is that a good way to measure it, or is that not scientific enough?
I am not conversant. Maybe Kate has come across
just measuring your height in centimeters, and it'll probably give you 100 and something. Then just remove the first.
Like mine is 175 centimeters.
175. So is your ideal weight 75?
No, my ideal weight is around 63. Yeah.
I think it would only work with those that are not very tall, maybe. But I don't think it's a formula that is applicable to everyone. But the other one for calculating, it may be.
It's very easy to calculate seriously. If one you just know your height. Remember that once you're an adult, your height is not going to be changing. So once you know your height, what you need to know is your weight, and then you can.
All right. And maybe Kate, because I know we'll run out of time. Just to have a very simple way of knowing whether I'm eating healthy. Both of you mentioned carbohydrates are quite high in our diet. One, does that mean that carbohydrates are not good for us? And secondly, if I just wanted to live healthy without all the mumbo jumbo and the jargon and, literally going into Google every day, how much do I need to eat? How do I ensure that I have a healthy diet?
I start with the carbs. Carbs are not bad. There's no food that is bad. What we have is poor eating habits. We eat the wrong or too much of something. And for carbohydrates, what we are told to do, it's your main source of energy. And it should contribute about 65% of your daily diet. You need these calories anyway. You need that energy to burn fat. You need that energy to keep you moving. And the source of carbohydrates, this is now where you're told you need to get the ones that are released slowly into glucose into your system. And then this energy is used throughout. Foods that are low in glycemic index, we talk about the whole meals, foods that are high in fiber as well, the carbohydrates, and the fiber is the one that acts as a broom and soups everything, both insoluble and soluble fiber. So when you look at carbs, which are the classes we have? We have the starches, you know, our potatoes, our arrowroots, all those, the tubers, the ones that grow. And we also have the cereals or the grains. We have things like rice that we take every day. We have ugali that we take, the maize meal that we take every day. So if you are able to get the whole meals of these options, with the cereals, you get the actual grain without being processed. Again, when it is processed, when you polish these flours, when you remove the fiber and the jam is the middle part that has the oil, the healthy oil. And then the bran, the jam is the outside part, the fiber bit. You remain with pure sugar, which is the white thing that we process, and that's what we eat. And if you take this throughout continuously, it means that every time you take a highly processed, a polished flour, it means that your energy, your glucose levels shoot up immediately. And when this happens, your body really fights hard, the body really fights hard to reduce this. And if it is a continuous thing, the excess glucose in the body is stored as glycogen and eventually as fat. So if Kate is consuming too much of bread every day, lunchtime is processed. And then let's also add the sugar-laden drinks and all these other things that you're going to process and add. It means that I'm taking too much glucose in my system through the food that I'm taking, through too much sugar, so which is eventually converted quickly into this fat. So that's how we add weight through that category. But it also tells us that with that, if you take too much of this, then you're prone to now start getting diseases like diabetes, where it's caused by a sugar imbalance. So it means that you're working on portions and variety of these carbohydrates that you're going to take. Just look for whole meals if you can get. If you do not get whole meals, then take the ones that are polished once in a while. Like I'd mentioned earlier, have a 2-week menu. And I always say, if you have a menu that lasts for 2 weeks, this is the one that will work for you better. Maybe today you found the only bread that you found that you were going to have today was the the white bread. And so fine. It was just for today. Tomorrow take some cereal, the other day take something else. So in 2 weeks, it means by the time you repeat that habit again, it has already been balanced naturally by your system. And it's not only the carbohydrates alone we look at. We are forgetting things like the fats in these foods. Sometimes we look and we have started this trend of looking for low fat or low something. It may be low in fat, but it has something else. It's high in sugar. So I think it is a matter of, like the way we ate maybe many years ago, or starting with that plate, foods that you can see. I'm seeing my waru there, I can see my tomato, I can see my protein that you're actually seeing that what you're eating, and then you're reducing all these processed foods that you're going to add.
But you don't even know what they have.
Yes, you reduce this. And then with that, you're going to drink your water, you're going to exercise. If you must supplement, and this is where we are going wrong, we tend to maybe I stay starved the whole day, or I'm taking a supplement that is going to burn all the fat that I'm eating, or I'm drinking juices that will make me detoxify or not eat for 3 weeks. If you complicate your system like this, you mess up with your metabolism. And when you mess up that metabolism, every time you try to eat healthy, every time you get to your healthy, normal eating habits, you actually find that it becomes really difficult, either in that weight loss or managing a condition. So just provide everything. And then now you can add very little here and there if you must.
All right, I'll come to you for your closing comments as we're running out of time. But Dr. Dindi, exercise is important for us to be healthy. What are some of those exercises that we can do without necessarily, again, going to the gym and registering with a trainer, which I think is another whole session, because I've gone to gyms where you're being trained and you're not quite sure if you're doing damage or you're actually improving your health. But what are some of the simple things that I need to be conscious about exercise-wise that would help me become healthier?
So part of the reason why we need carbs is for energy. And so this energy, of course, we have it from our metabolism, just based on metabolism and our activity. And that's where I come in as Dr. Fitness. So the thing is that we need to remain active. And like you said, you don't really need a gym to be active. I've personally never enrolled in a gym, and I am fit after getting 3 babies,
well,
after 2 cesarean sections.
Instagram.
Yes. Yes. So the thing is, you can make it very practical. I prefer to talk about active living even as opposed to exercise and workouts. And active living could be like, I got here earlier and I used the stairs to this studio. Hey, come on, I did well. So as in, you look for any opportunity to remain active. Move. Don't sit for 2 hours still without doing anything. In fact, there's something now we call the sitting disease. Remain active. Be on your feet as much as possible. You can actually get a pedometer, something you can wear and actually be able to count your steps. If, as a matter of fact, you can do 10,000 steps in a day, that's adequate.
Pedometers work?
They do. They're good for assessment.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you can do 10,000 steps in a day, that's actually adequate for fitness. But again, like Kate highlighted earlier, women tend to have less muscle mass, and therefore their metabolism tends to be lower, and that predisposes us to gaining more fat as we grow older. So it's very important to be able to train and be able to strengthen your muscles. So some of the simple exercises, I'm going to say this, push-ups. I know most ladies are like, push-ups? Yeah. Push-ups are good. They'll actually get you that flat tummy you've been looking for. They're going to strengthen your core, strengthen your back, your tummy, and even your arms. You can do squats, because, lift your bum and all that. There are many things. You can do lunges, but back to just simple things. Start by walking. If you can walk for 30 minutes daily, that's fairly good. If you can count your steps, that will even motivate you further. Then put in some toning exercises. Actually, the World Health Organization recommends that 2 days of the week you actually group your muscles and be able to work them. Work your upper arms, work your lower muscles, and that's where the squats may come in, or you do cycling at an incline, or do the Stairmaster, or just simply doing squats and lunges.
So
you can throw in some
couch,
and get moving. That's what I love.
Kate, we'll have to wind up. Your closing comments.
Yeah, my closing comments is that sometimes we're the ones who complicate our eating habits and healthy living, and we feel or tend to think it's really complicated, and we're the ones who actually make it complicated. Simplify it, and also let us know that staying starved the whole day, or skipping certain food groups, or just drinking something, or constantly jumping from one diet to another is not something that will sustain you, especially if you're trying to lose weight, and it is not something that is healthy. It's a matter of just providing everything. And if you must get into these supplements, into this detox, into all these crazy fads that are out there, please work well with your physician or your nutritionist so that you're guided by my body type as Kate. Do I need to do that? Do I need to follow that? And for how long do I need to do it if I must? But basically, if you just start with what we have with you, and then you slowly add the other factors, especially if it's supplementing, if it is adding something like the juices, if it's adding something else, you see how it works well with your lifestyle. Remember something we've not mentioned here this morning, we forgot, is the fact that we are also stressed people, and I'd say even women are more stressed and they sleep less hours, so we need also to balance that.
And I guess we will need another show basically just to define those. But thank you very much, ladies, for joining us this morning. Kate Kibara and Dr. Dindi for giving us guidelines on how to remain healthy. And well, that's where we're going to wind up the show this morning. And I take this opportunity to wish you all a healthy day. If you've been sitting through the show like I have, then it's time for you to get up and walk and stay healthy. So do have yourselves a very healthy and productive day. From me and the team here on Morning Express, we say thank you and wish you all a fantastic day. Do stay with us right here on KTN News. News Center is up next.